Hello, nerds and geeks and all variants in between. I'm Tony Diane, and this is Of Nerds and Geeks, pop culture from a certain point of view. Today, we'll be doing an interview with Jim Malcom and talk about his books, his music, and his acting. Let's go check it out. Okay, so I'm here with Jim Malcom. He's a writer, musician, actor, and a father, and a husband. How you doing, Jim?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. Why don't you tell the people a little bit about yourself so they can get to know you?
Well, I'm Jim Malcom, like Tony said. I work for a major corporation during the day, and I'm a creative by night and on weekends.
Because of the pandemic that you actually got into writing, but you had written before years ago, right?
Yeah, in high school. My high school years, I took up a flair for writing and started a novel, and then life happened.
Kids, wife, the normal,
Yeah.
that's what they get. So, what is your particular flavor for writing? What style do you like?
Horror,
Or
as you can tell behind me.
yes, I see that. So you're into horror writing, so you're probably like Stephen King's your influence, Dean
My
Koontz,
hero.
that sort of thing.
Hero. He's my hero.
All right, perfect. So, and now you picked up writing again because of COVID. And how many novels are you in now?
I've got two novellas that are published and on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and Lulu.com. And I'm actually working on a third, which is going to be a full novel, and it's going to be called Flint.
And the first two is A Stranger in the House. The second one was The Park.
Yes.
Okay. So let me ask you a question. Since you're writing horror in a modern world, and we're both a couple of Gen X guys, do you find that you've kind of had to curtail your writing? Because nowadays, the social media generation, the media generation kind of pumps information really fast at people, like at lightning speed. Do you feel like you have to write differently to catch people's attention, or do you write at a regular Gen X pace?
Um, I my two novellas came out back to back pretty much. Like I released Stranger in the House, which was my first story, and I immediately dove in and wrote The Park. Both stories kind of start off. My goal is to grab the reader and reel them in and get involved in the story. Um, and it's kind of like the pace I go at is how much the story vibes with me. So there's some days that I have no inspiration, then there's other days where I just get in the groove and just pump it out.
I hear that. Now, your first book, A Stranger in the House, spent 3 weeks on Amazon #1 under the horror section, correct?
It did. It did.
Congratulations. That's awesome, man.
Thank you. That was quite a surprise. Like,
I know. Your
totally.
first novel out of the gate, that's a heck of a head swell to get you going, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was. It was amazing.
That's fantastic. So how would you describe your style of writing outside of horror? People want to get into you.
I kind of I tried my hand at fantasy epic, as you know. Wasn't my wheelhouse. Kind of would like to write something historical, like historical fiction is kind of the other genre that I've been thinking about. I'm a huge history buff, but I kind of feel like horror is my wheelhouse, and anything I write that's historical is going to be interwoven with horror.
Okay. But how would you describe your horror style? Like, is it all blood and gore? Is it story? Is it character? Is it love? How would you describe
Suspense.
it?
Suspense seems to work for me. I'm not a gore person. Like anybody who wants to read my novels, if you like gore, it's very minimal. It's more, it's not very descriptive the way that I get into the gore, because I don't feel it needs to be like, it's not shock. I mean, it's suspense that builds to a shocking moment, but it's not blood and guts just for shock value.
So it's a story that builds from beginning to end, as opposed to being
Correct.
a series of horror events.
Correct.
Right. Now, for those who may not know, if you haven't read his book, if you have read his book, leave a comment. But Jim is actually world building in his fictional land called
Hollis Falls.
Hollis Falls. Would you say it's a New England town, a Midwest town?
It's actually a village in the Berkshires. It's a fictitious village in the Berkshires in the northwestern corner of Massachusetts. It's a very pretty area, and it's very eerie, like the mountains. It's very mountainous.
Yeah, I've read your first two; they're very good. But I think the important thing to mention too is that you don't need to read one to understand the other. It's
Right.
just it's just that it takes place in the same environment, but it's not like a sequel. It's just these are little stories that happen in the same world.
Correct.
Very important to know. You got into script writing. How's
I
that been
did.
for you?
I loved it. It's something I never thought I would do, and I kind of sat through a table read with the actors, and it was a real amazing feeling hearing my words coming out of other people's mouth and thinking this is kind of working.
So how would you feel the difference between writing a book versus a screenplay as far as character pacing, things like that?
For me, they're kind of like one and the same. Like honestly, like the script writing feels a little more fast paced because it's more deadline oriented.
Mm,
You know, I mean, there's certain timelines that you have to have the script ready, whereas the novels are kind of at my own pace. The current novel I'm working on right now, I want to release in early summer. Um, in June, we're a week away from June right now, and it's probably going to be mid to late summer at this point because the story keeps going and going and going, and I'm waiting to see where it heads off to.
right.
The script writing is another animal altogether. I feel the same vibe when I'm working on both, but yeah, I'd have to say script writing is more fast paced because it's deadline oriented.
Also, you don't have to do as many parenthetical descriptions as you do in paragraphs in a novel to set up and describe the scene.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're more focused on dialogue, and the action is just kind of like the undercurrent to move the dialogue
Right.
along.
Yeah. It's like the setup is a little bit different.
Okay, so tell me about your band. What's it called?
Greylock.
Why?
Well, kind of ties into the Berkshires. Mount Greylock is the highest peak in Massachusetts, and I'm a huge Harry Potter fan, and the home of the American School of Witchcraft and Wizardry is supposedly on Mount Greylock. That
Perfect.
was kind of my impetus, but my brother and I also hiked that mountain, and it just was something we thought was a cool name.
Your brother's
Also,
in your band,
yeah, he plays guitar,
and you play
drums.
drums. Okay. How many people in your band?
Four.
Oh, and
Yep. We
you want to
have
mention the members?
my nephew Liam is currently playing bass for us, or actually rhythm guitar. We're going to be looking for a bass player. Um, and we
If you're
have
in
a
the
singer.
Connecticut area, leave a comment. They're looking for a
Yes,
bassist.
we're looking for a bassist. And we have our singer Jay, who was with us years ago and came back to join us last year. And we're vibing. It's really
And you
gelling.
and you guys are a polka band, right?
We are kind of like a hard rock alternative metal kind of. We're kind of all over the map as far as genres. We tend to be on the heavy side, but I don't know if I'd call us heavy metal. We have a few songs that could pass off as heavy metal, but we don't want to be pigeonholed into a genre.
So you said you've been doing it for 12 years. Have you seen an evolution of the style and type of music you've done from beginning to end?
Oh God, yeah, yeah.
Especially, if I may add this on to the question, is uh, being a mature man, a Gen Xer, that sort of thing. Have you found your musical style to slow down and or change, or you still embrace the same thing as you did 12 years ago?
Uh, we have been all over the map evolving. We started out just playing rock music in the garage, like classic rock, and we've had a revolving lineup also. So it's like every time we've brought somebody in, the style has changed. But the core group of me, Steve, and Jay right now seems to be like what our wheelhouse is. We played all together 4 years ago, pre-pandemic, and like it was like the strongest lineup that we had. And
Nice.
the opportunity came up where we approached Jay to rejoin us, and he was overjoyed to join. And we've kind of brought that core back. It's the three of us are the core.
That's great. Have you guys ever played out?
We did. In fact,
How was that like?
it was amazing. It was
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, we played at a place which was actually a concert venue. It was a club, but it was more of a concert venue, like a big stage,
Oh,
like a
cool.
huge floor area. Um, it wasn't like playing in a bar. It was like a concert venue. It was an amazing experience, and that was the only time we played out.
How many groupies did you have to fight off?
Well, my wife was there, so there was none of that happening.
So you had at least one.
Yeah,
What do your kids think of this? You have two girls, right?
yeah. Um, I don't know, honestly. Like they joke about it, but I think they think it's pretty cool.
So I have to
Like,
ask, like, have they ever used the term dad band?
no, they
Oh,
haven't. Although the
lucky
rest of us
you.
call it a dad band. The band part really hasn't, like the writing is more the thing that they will like kind of like joke about. Like neither one of them has read anything I've written, so they have no grounds to judge, but they just think it's funny how all of a sudden dad turned into this like author overnight.
Thanks, COVID.
Yeah, right. Housebound for 2.5 years. What are we doing on Tuesday night?
Well, I can either learn Latin, do my yoga, or write.
Right.
Self improvement. All right. We did a couple of pandemic films that were very like close set and stuff like that, and we asked you on to our first film, Frontier Apocalypse, to play a zombie.
Mhm.
How was that?
That
Get
was
there with the
fun.
bug.
That was fun. The makeup part was like something I like to do because my daughter and I all have a tradition of we do Halloween. We decorate the yard, we dress up, we do
Awesome.
really elaborate makeup and go out and scare the trick or treaters. So it was kind of like I think it was in June that we did that shoot,
Mhm.
and it was kind of like it's not quite Halloween, but this is fun. Like we had a good time.
I've seen your setup at your house, man. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Really, really elaborate. And then you moved on to your second film, Solomon Kale, The Golden Garden or The Golden Cold. My own
Yes.
movie. I can't remember the name of it. My bad. But
Yeah,
anyways,
that
you got tagged to play the lead, Solomon
I
Kale
did.
himself.
I
What was
did.
that like? Was that a different pressure than just playing an extra zombie?
Yeah, because I had to learn lines, and I
And what
had
was
to
that
I
like?
had to kind of like jump in and learn how to act. That was actually like a fun project to be part of. Um, the director and the crew were very good at fostering the acting skills and bringing something out of me that I didn't think I
He'll
had.
bolster you up.
Yes, yes. Um, but yeah, that was a fun role to play because I was playing the villain of
The
the
cult
piece.
leader.
Yeah, cult leader, and
Yeah.
I got to like put on a funny wig. I had these really bad aviator sunglasses. Total total spoof on Jim Jones, minus the Kool Aid.
Yeah. Well,
But
because your cult worship Kale.
yeah, it was a fun film. And
It
it's
was a fun
enjoyable to
film. I
watch.
have to
It's
admit
it's
that.
very enjoyable to watch.
I'll be putting a link to the movies and Jim's books in the bottom too, so you guys can follow along and stuff like that too. And then after that, what would you do after that?
I think we did. Was it? Did we go right to Cat Vixens from Mars after that, or was there one in between?
Isn't it sad that we can't remember? Man.
I'm trying to
Uh,
remember. I
I'm
think
I'm gonna say that we went to the Midnight Mystery Theater trilogy after that.
that's what it was. Yes,
Yeah, because
yes, yeah, yeah.
we did Cat Vixens. And
Yep.
who'd you play in Cat Vixens?
I had a couple roles in Flat Cat Vixens. For the Midnight Mystery Theater piece, I did the puppet Boris, which was
And just
fun.
so you guys can follow along, Midnight Mystery Theater is basically like a late night movie horror host. So we made that, and we made the bad film they watch as well. So Jim played the puppet for the horror host part, and then in the film,
In the film, I played Rick Richardson.
someone
His name
probably
was Dick.
remembers.
Um, and I actually kind of watched a couple clips from that today. That was a fun one. It's black and white, total spoof on a 1950s sci-fi movie. It was fun, but I had more fun playing the Fleckogorn in that than I did Rick Richardson.
I'm sorry, the what?
The Fleckogorn, which was the native Martian creature.
There it is. Now, you also played the character, but you also made the costume and the suit you wore.
I did.
Have you done that before?
No.
So you just took
All
your
the
sort of
Halloween stuff.
Halloween experience and moved forward?
My wife and I thrift, and I was looking for something to as a headpiece. I found an old hockey helmet and paper mache'd the crap out of it, and made attachments to it, and it came out really good. I still have it.
That's amazing. Yeah, I do like the Fleckogorn. I think it's just such a creepy, weird thing. It's right out of the era.
Yeah.
The movie's supposed to be in the late 50s, so they had those sort of like oversized. You could tell the guy was in a mask type of thing. So that was wonderfully done.
Well, the
And
pink
then
onesie was fun too, to wear that.
you can't tell it's pink and black and white.
Right. The
Nobody
neighbors
could
could tell, though. The neighbors
Oh,
could
yeah.
tell.
Yeah, the neighbors could always tell. They're probably wondering what's going on in their backyard. And then after that, you didn't have a role in the next one, which was Midnight Mystery Theater Time Track, but you made another creature,
Yeah. Yep.
the
The
the,
Troblin.
the Troblin.
Yep.
Yeah, that thing was odd. I loved
Yeah.
it.
That was that was fun, like filming that. I learned green screen for those segments, and filmed myself in the costume, which was like, it took about 4 hours to do like 3 small 30-second clips.
They were very sparse. But just for reference for our dear audience, Time Trek is meant to be like a spoof of the old Land of the Lost TV show. So our Troblins were kind of like Sleestacks, just for reference. Well, I hope you enjoyed the interview with Jim. I left all the links below for his books and his films. Please read, please watch, please support. Jim, thank you so much for doing this. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me.
Of course. And obviously, if you haven't figured it out, Jim is also a panelist on some of our episodes. All right, Jim, you take care.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed the interview, and I hope you join us next time on Nerds and Geeks for our panel. In the meantime, you can go to my online store and get some cool swag with artwork by yours truly. You can also help me out by following my Facebook and Instagram. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for future videos. Take care, and remember, be yourself.